Hello.
Okay, welcome to Cake with Kelsey. Oh my gosh, I am Kelsey, your host, and I'm here with Miss Loretta Thomas. Say
Hey.
hello. And Forever Blessed is back.
Hi there.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I'm good now. I'm getting there. I'm good. It's all good. So tonight we are going to get into a couple of topics, and we are going to jump right in. But before we do, I just want to remind everybody that the best place to listen to Cake with Kelsey is vexradio.com. And seeing that it is an interactive show, you can join in on the conversation by leaving a comment, which we will see during the show. And you can also leave a comment using the hashtag Cake with Kelsey on Twitter. We'll be checking that out as well. And a little later, you're going to have the opportunity to call in and join the conversation. So if you have something to say about one of our topics, you want to share your thoughts or your opinion, I will let you know when you can join in and do that. So listen out for that. Okay,
What is that?
I'm hearing some noise, ladies. Anyway, so Loretta, I see you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you checked out the post, right? The post which have been getting so much attention. I'm actually getting on my personal phone so many calls and texts about the swirl life. The oh, Devin's
The
here.
swirl life.
Hi. Hi, we did a quick intro of everybody. You good? You're
Oh, who's
here and
that?
settled. Devin Jones, split
Oh,
verse.
hey.
Yes. Say
Nice to
hello, hello.
meet you.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
You can or you can't?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear. Well,
Lovely.
kind of clear. Just stay close to your mic.
Oh, it's on my headphone. It's attached.
How are you?
Oh, my headphone.
Okay.
I don't hear you guys.
You're good now? You're good, you're good, you're good. We were just starting to talk about one of our topics, the dating outside your race, and specifically Black women dating outside or dating men other than Black men. So, like I was just explaining to everybody, I've been getting so much um, comments about this, messages to my personal phone. I've had a couple of conversations since I started posting about it the other day on Instagram, and it's kind of crazy just the conversations that spark. It's funny how everybody thinks it's not a thing, it's not a topic, like there's no need to discuss it, but as soon as
Hmm.
it's mentioned,
Oh, yeah.
I can have an hour-long conversation about it easy. And it's
Oh,
funny,
hell
Loretta,
yeah.
I saw something that you commented on Instagram today, but I'll let you get into that, like a
Uh-huh.
comment that you tagged me in or a
Mm-hmm.
post that you tagged me in. So um,
Right.
we're seeing everything, Loretta, by the way. So
Oh,
you either turn your
oh,
camera
I
off or
know.
you stand
I'm just,
and
I'm
sit
just trying.
still.
I don't even know how to do that.
I'm about to
I'm
start
trying to like
disciplining
plug in my
everybody in
phone.
here.
I'm trying to
No,
finish this sentence.
Hilarious.
Okay, I'm good now.
I hope so.
Actually, can you hear me better now that I'm on my phone?
Yeah, you're a little
Okay.
better. Clear. And Loretta, get closer to your mic or whatever you have to do. So,
Okay, I'm
um,
gonna put in my earpiece.
so what were your first thoughts? Okay, so you saw me post this, and I sent you like you see the post and everything like that. First thought, as Black
Uh,
women, we're all sisters in here. So, okay,
no,
so you,
well,
Okay, okay.
I said, why do we still have to talk about this? Because, like, I was like, why is everybody just not doing it? That's why I asked it. I didn't ask it like, why are we still talking about this? Like it wasn't like it literally was like, why do we still have to talk about this? Like why are people still like, and the funniest thing is I say that, but like I know a lot of my girlfriends that they will not do it. And then I was just like, just date whoever makes sense. Just date.
That's why we need to talk about it because they will not do it. Okay,
Yeah.
so
that's a good way of looking at it, right? But I don't know. I didn't meet you before, but I just talk straight. Okay.
Yeah.
So does she.
So,
Yeah. Yes.
right? Okay.
Don't let the cute fool you. Don't let the cute fool you.
So I think we do need to talk about it because people, like, especially, I can only speak as a woman, right? As a Black woman, we are so set in our ways and we're very loyal to what we're used to, right? We don't just venture off into unknown territories, especially when it comes to dating. We tend to just stick to what we know, you know? And for us to even try something different than what we know, we're like, you know? And I mean, I'm not even just talking about races. I'm talking about types of relationships we end up in. It always seems to be the same pattern, right? Or the same type of person, or the same looking type of person, or, you know, like, I just think we're very loyal women in general to, especially our men, and a certain look and an attraction and all that stuff. We're so used to that we stick to it. So people look at stuff now, as with Black women, we're looking at other people and we're interested, but we're still a little bit hesitant. We're still a little bit unsure, you know, and, you know, some of us have, you know, young Black children, and that also plays into factor. Like, okay, now I'm going to bring a different culture, and now I have to get my child used to not only this person, but they're a little bit different. Like, all these things we naturally think about. I think more than anybody else, you know. So I don't know. Like, I think we do need to talk about it because people want to do it, but they just haven't gotten there yet, you know, or we don't know. It's like I was having a conversation I've been having lots of conversations with friends. You're like, how do you know a white guy is picking you up? Well, it's simple. You know how long it took some of us to figure it out? We're like, oh, that was a pickup?
That's so
I didn't
funny.
even know.
That's funny you say that, because I swear
We don't even know.
today that I had an experience today.
Right.
So I'm in the elevator, and I noticed this man. Now the elevator has mirrors around, so sometimes people turn to the mirror, whatever. And so he didn't have to be looking at me. And of course, I'm in my device. I'm looking at my phone, but I could feel like, I'm like, it's not looking at me, and it's just the two of us. So I get off before him, and I see him look and kind of smile and give me that, and I was like, I was like, oh, he kind of. And I was just telling someone, like, I didn't even pick up on that, and I wouldn't have picked up on it. But if that was a Black man now standing right there, I would have been all, like, not all over him or anything, but I would have been more in tune. Like, I would have, and if he was looking at me, I would have, well, not necessarily, because if he wasn't interested, but I would have been more aware, I think, and I would have been more, the question of, okay, is he checking me or no? Like, would have even come up. You know what I mean? That just the thought would have been there. Maybe he wouldn't have been, but it was interesting. And then afterward, like, it was like a little smile, and I'm like, okay, when they give the little friendly, I mean, it could have just been a friendly smile, like, just, okay, bye, we just rode the elevator together. You know what I mean? But it made me think, and I guess because of the topic today and everything like that, it just made me think, like, oh my gosh, did I just miss something there? But not that I'm looking or anything, but yeah, Forever Blessed. Moving right along. Forever Blessed. Talk to us. What was your initial?
When it comes to the Caucasian men.
Ooh, this is bad feedback.
You're getting specific. Oh.
Can you guys hear
me? I'm not getting any feedback on my
end.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can hear you perfectly. I think it's on your end that you're getting feedback. Yeah, I think it's on your end you're getting feedback. There's no feedback when she talks on my end.
Oh, okay.
I'm hearing it.
Okay, we're good. We hear it.
Okay. But what I was saying is, I find with the Caucasian guys, when they're asking you out on a date, they tend to ask you if you want to go out for coffee or tea. And it's like, okay, that's how they do, I find, from past experiences. Like, 90% of them, it's always coffee or tea.
But is
Nice.
there something
Which is
wrong
a
with
nice
that?
first. No, that's a nice first date.
I know. I feel like
Not
coffee or
date,
tea
not
is normal. I feel like coffee or tea is the normal because usually what happens is it's kind of like the get to know you date, which makes sense to me. I prefer coffee or tea for my first date because I don't want to waste I don't want to feel like I have to sit through a whole dinner if I don't like you.
Right. But I find like with the black guys, they'll just ask you out. Like, do you want to go out or go to a movie or go to dinner or
Black
something?
guys ask you out.
But
In
I think
Toronto?
why? Sorry, I think. Oh, sorry. Say that again. Oh gosh. Okay. Let's
Or stay in. Or stay in. You
Exactly.
want to stay in.
I think Devin just said black men asking you out in Toronto. Really? I think that was it because I kind of made some noise and covered up there. But
Yeah.
what I was gonna say was I'll enjoy my food. I don't. Hey, we may not hit it off, but as long as we're in the right spot, food's hitting me in the right place, I'm good. We can ride it out. Hopefully we could be friends after and do it
Right.
again maybe. But I think she was saying like not even knowing when they are actually coming at you and picking you up. It's like and that's maybe I don't want to say culture thing, like a difference.
We're
It's
so
still- it's-
used to the same things.
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's so much race versus just like I said, culture or your immediate circle and how people approach people because there are differences. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been like discriminatory. I've always dated everybody, and I actually don't find a difference in the approaches of anybody. So like I feel like everybody dated black, white, Asian, whatever. They always like coffee or tea usually is the norm for me, and then I find that coffee and tea is just kind of an icebreaker. If we're having a good time, then they'll be like, oh, well, I'm hungry. Do you want to go grab something? And then you go for dinner or something. So it's just kind of like it's coming off. But I also do mostly online dating. So that's usually like the meet and greet. I don't really meet people. I never meet people on the street. I don't know where that happens here. But I was like, if that happens to you, good. That's great. That doesn't happen to me. So, yeah, so the meet and greet normally is tea or coffee. So you meet, and then if things are going good, they'll normally be like, oh, do you want to go grab something to eat? They'll try to extend it.
Right.
Wow.
So it's just kind of like a starter.
I do get approached fairly often, like whether it be wherever. And it's just based on my experiences. Like I find Caucasians are always quick to offer.
I can't hear what you're saying.
You're breaking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear.
Oh no, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I was just
hold your microphone right in your mouth.
I'm about to eat the phone.
I know.
How about now?
You're good. You're good.
Okay, I was just reiterating the fact that just for me personally, I find that the Caucasians tend to, when I see them on the street or wherever, it's always a coffee or tea for the majority of it. But just even in terms of biracial dating, I think that I don't have anything against it. There's like when I see especially the black women with a man of another race, it's just like I like to see interracial couples. I'm open to the idea of it as I too once upon a time was in an interracial relationship.
Okay.
And I also come from a background of biracial grandparents.
Okay. So first of all, I'm just blown away because I meet people, but I don't really get not really out there like that, but I don't really meet a lot of other men, or I'm not picked up a lot by other men, so I can't really speak to that. as much. Um, so your relationship was, how was it for you? Did you think twice about it? Did even dating him, was that like an issue for you at all? Or it was just like, hey, just this person who you just met, liked, whatever. Can you talk about that a little? Because I think that's the thing more that more of the issue with Black women is like, are we open to it? Are we open to it? Most of the studies and articles and things that are written about us being open to others is that we're not, and for a number of different reasons. And um, what really sparked this, not to, sorry, go away too much from what we were just saying, but what sparked this topic for me was the fact that a lot of people feel the need to suggest or give me the advice of dating outside my race.
Mhm.
And I don't know if any other group of people are advised to do that as much as us, like, or how many articles are written. And maybe that's just coming, I'm just coming from a place of being a Black woman, so I'm more alert to it. But statistics show that we are less likely to date outside of our race. We are a group that the least likely to date outside of our group. So that's why I'm asking,
Yeah.
going into that, was it an issue for you initially or anything like that, or?
Well, no, because like I said, like both my grandparents are biracial. So, and then I have uncles and aunts and other family members who have married like Caucasian people, or
Okay.
well, majority Caucasian, right? So it's always been something I've been a part of or around. And then even just for me growing up, I always felt attraction to the white boys at school, or like, the mixed kids, light-skinned guys. Like, I've always had that. So in my younger years, I have dated like the white guys, the Koreans. Like, I've dated a variety of men, because my thing is, as long as you're cute, then we can talk and take it from there and see,
Why did it have to be wow when she said Korean? Why did it have to be wow?
I think I was the wow because
Yeah, you
because no, that's, I
I
mean, it's
can't even hear properly. Can I come out
Oh.
and come back in?
Sure. Sure. You are so funny with the poses over there. Go ahead.
Oh my
Just
god.
be quiet. On your
Okay,
way out and in.
so there's a couple things based on what we've already talked about. So just based on if we're going to talk about statistics, let's look at statistics in terms of who actually wants to date Black women. So part of the reason that Black women have pretty much stuck to Black men is because Black men are the ones who actually want to date us, or pretty much for the majority aspect of it. Second to that are Asian men. So Asian men and Black women in terms of dateability are at the bottom of the scale. For Asian men for men, Black women for women.
Yes, I've seen that.
If you look at the statistics,
Yeah.
So there is actually a lot of pairing between Black women and Asian men, especially recently, where there's a lot of meetup groups where it's like Asian men, Black women, let's get together. And so there's like this new kind of like, I was like, oh, they don't want us? That's fine. Let's all get together. And which is interesting. I didn't really realize it. I've always preferred Asian men. Like, I like Asian men, Black men, and Spanish men. Like, those are my three main preferences. And so it was funny when I found out that there was like a group. I was dating an Asian guy, and he told me that there is a Black women, Asian men meetup groups, and he was telling me all this stuff, and I was like, oh, I didn't even realize it. But I think a part of us choosing to mostly date Black men is because why not choose the people that actually are going to give you some attention, right?
But I think it's true.
I think there's more to it for me personally.
Go ahead.
I don't
Go
even
ahead.
know. I'm things are cutting out, so I don't know who's talking.
Oh.
No, we're hearing you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay, so for me, I'm gonna tell you, I've dated a Greek, a British guy, a Persian guy, a Turkish guy, right? Um, and I'm talking about date. I'm not. I never slept with them. I might have kissed two of them, right? Because honestly, they move a lot slower than black guys do. Black guys want to jump into your pants so quickly, it's not even funny. But these guys are a little bit slower, and that's good because they take the time to actually get to know you, right? Before, at least that's my experience. I can only speak on my experience, right? Now, I personally, I can only speak on my experience again. I personally had this thing with being able to be myself, right? Because I want to be able to be like, yo, hey, what's up? Like, I want to talk like that. I don't want to be like, oh, hi, how are you today? And I'm like, nah, man, I'm upset. Like, yo, I don't want to talk like that. Like, I don't want to deviate from who I am, right? I want to be able to date somebody that I could speak about race politics with if I feel free to, instead of me hiding and having that conversation with other people and my friends. I want to, and I'm open to dating other people, but I have to be myself. And my friends that come around, they have to be themselves too. If we want to make crack jokes and be like, ah! I don't want him to be like, oh my God, you're friends. Like, he just has to be comfortable, because I like to go out to predominantly, like, black clubs that have a lot of black people. Like, I'll go out to places that are mixed up too, but I want somebody that I date to fit into my life and me fit into theirs. Like, it all has to gel together. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm changing up because I'm with this person. You know what I mean? So I find I've been in situations where I felt like I was a trophy. Like, oh, you just want to show me off in front of people? Like, like, do you really like me, or do you look at me as like some sexual object? Like,
But is that them or is that you?
It's almost like, oh, why don't you put on that dress and we're going to go to this, like, shishi poo poo place, and yes, I'm going to walk behind you and you just let people stare at us. Like, it just almost, like, I've been in situations like that. Like, I'm totally comfortable and I have to step out and say, what's happening? And I've been told, especially I've been told, like, the Greek guy, we were real cool, but you know what he said to me? I can't bring you home. I can't bring you home to my family because they're not going to accept this, right? I like you, but we can't go any further. And I'm like, are you for real? Like,
Wow.
I step away from that situation. Or this is so. I the other issue of, like, your religion. Your deep-rooted Muslims, right? And that's weird to me. Like, it says, where are we going? Like, I'm Christian. I'm not gonna, and I mean, there could be black guys that are Muslim too, right?
Of course,
But
and that's what I was going to
it's
say.
just
So that's not so much
right.
race
It's
or
all
ethnicity.
these right. Like, it's just so many things. Like, I think that whoever, for me personally, I date, we all have to gel together. Our lives, the way we speak, the way we communicate, it all has to gel together. I don't want him changing up for me or me changing up for him. Like, in terms of who you are, who you hang out with, or places that you go, it all just has to work, And
But what's funny
I'm gonna go
about that,
there, like,
go ahead, no, finish your thought, sorry.
even like the touch, the smell, the lips, like, there's just certain things that I'm used to, right? Like the body structure, like, there's pheromones, like, there's just certain things. I'm sorry, I gotta go there because I'm a smelling kind of person.
Okay.
Like, I gotta, like, I gotta smell what I'm used to, like, or I don't know, it's just,
You know
It's
what?
just
To that, I
different
have
stuff.
to
Like,
say there's a difference though, and that's to me, that's borderline culture because I've dated black men of okay, me being having a Jamaican background, if you want to call it background, but being Jamaican,
yeah,
and dating a couple of black men from different cultures, and that's very real. And I'm very in tune, like very sensitive to certain things too. Um, and so the culture shock or the differences with culture, I think that's what I hear more from what you're saying as well. And do you find like let's say no, I won't get too specific like that, but there's and sorry, and I wanted to also add what Devin said about Asian men. And the first when you said that, to be honest with you, the first thought was Jamaica. There's so many black and Asian couples both ways I've seen. And Asian men, black
mm,
women. And when you were speaking about the meetup groups and it was kind of more manufactured relationship or meet, like you said, both being rejected in their own, you know, gender groups and coming together out of this whole, okay, we're both at the bottom, let's unite versus just a natural attraction. But I've seen a lot of the natural attraction, like I said, I guess all over in the Caribbean, but definitely in Jamaica, I've seen a lot of that play out. Um, but again, and so what I wanted to say was culture. You could be more connected culturally to, let's say, an Asian Jamaican versus a black, I don't know, Nigerian. You know what I mean? You're gonna it or wherever. Sorry, I'm speaking as a Jamaican. So your culture can bring you together more than your race, let's say. Do you
Oh,
guys
that's
find
so true.
that?
That's
Yeah.
so true. I was dating a Nigerian guy, and then he was like, "Well, I can never take you home to my parents. I can never marry you."
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I
because
never
I'm
heard
Caribbean.
that because you're
Yeah,
what?
because I'm Caribbean and he's Nigerian. He needs to marry a Nigerian woman.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that there's I even have a friend who is actually Ethiopian and her boyfriend is Nigerian and they have issues within their family because of the fact that they're Ethiopian and Nigerian. It's not
Hmm.
even it's not even they're African and done. It's like no, Nigerian, Ethiopian, two different.
two
Hmm.
different
No, no, no. And I
cultures.
could see that. And actually, I shouldn't be so shocked. I think I am because I've seen quite a few Nigerian and Caribbean or other West Africans with other Caribbeans. I've seen a lot of that, so that's what surprised me with that one. But back to the ethnicity though and the race, like do you because when you asked me like when I said wow, I'll I'll no, and you know, I like my answer to people when they tell me to date outside my race, and I should consider that and open it up. My answer is always like, why do you assume that I don't? And who's who's to say that I won't meet someone, you know, in a month or a year or whatever that I would be open to? It's more of a connection of a person, right? A personality to start with. But then I have to look back and say, okay, I've been dating for, I don't know, let's say 20 years of my life. Why hasn't that happened? If I was so open to it, you know what I mean? I like to think that I'm open-minded, but if I was so open-minded,
Right.
why hasn't it happened then? Like seriously
And
dating.
you're such a beautiful girl.
Oh.
That's so crazy.
Thank you. But no, listen, I in high school, like I knew this guy. He was from, I can't remember, but he's Latin, he's Spanish. But we weren't dating though, because we were friends. He took a liking to me. He had a little crush on me. And that now people were taking for more than it was, but definitely like I looked at him as a friend. And that's probably the closest I got to that.
Right.
Also, I've dated biracial a couple of
Mm,
biracial people. But again, both have identified as black men.
black.
Um,
Yeah.
they both, when I looked at them, definitely one you wouldn't even think. You would have to hear that his one of his parents is white, before you would even see it. Then you would say, "Oh, okay, I see it." But you know what I mean? It was that type of thing. So, um, but so I don't know, and I've had to, and since putting this topic out there, I've been thinking about it. I've had the thought time and time again when people have come at me and suggested it. So there are other reasons. And I remember hearing a story years ago from a Jewish guy who I was not dating, but I met, and there was like a little, I don't know, he kind of thought I was cute, whatever. This is years ago. But he explained to me that if he were to get with me and even think about marrying me, they would actually have a funeral or some type of, yeah, you are dead to us type of ceremony. And so things like that have stuck in my brain, I guess, and it makes me wonder, like, can these people actually take me seriously, or you know what I mean? And these people, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, in the back of my mind, I guess I didn't see a lot of it coming up. I didn't see it. So unlike like Forever Blessed, you saw examples of it in your own home, your family, so that it was a lot easier.
You know what's funny about that? All the men in my family date. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
All the men in my family date outside their race. All of them. Every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The women only date black. My grandmother was biracial, but all the men, all the young guys, everybody, cousins, they all date white women, or Indian.
Interesting.
But I mean, my family, they don't have nothing to say about it because their grandmother was a white lady, right? So they were, my aunties, all of them, they were raised by a white lady. But the women, we tend to stick to black men. And it's funny what you said about us being at the bottom of the barrel with the Asian men. Like, that bothers me. Like, that actually, I wonder, like, why, how are people looking at us? Like, okay, so why are we at the bottom? Like, and everybody's trying to be like us. This is what I don't understand.
And you know what?
Why the hell are you trying to look like me? I'm sorry.
But what's crazy?
Why are you guys looking at your women like, oh, look at that, and you don't like the original? Like, I don't know. You guys think we have attitudes? Like, do we have too much of attitude? Is it all the stigma?
Excuse.
Like,
it's an excuse.
What is it?
It's an excuse, because the thing is, they're looking for white women with black features. So they're looking for white women with big asses. I was like,
Who's they? Who's the they right now we're talking about?
The they is the black men that are saying that we have
every man, all the man.
Okay.
This, that, and this and that, right?
White man,
and
every man.
My family is the same. My family is the same. My brother, my cousins, all my male cousins are all married to white women. Mm-hmm. Not one of them. Not one of them married. Well, only one of them married a black woman.
And I'll ask you guys a question though.
Mm-hmm. It's awkward. It's awkward for me.
Is
like
it
when you're hanging with them to have the conversation?
Like, what is the question? Do you feel, if you had to feel a way, let's say, do you feel more a way seeing a black man with a white girl, or a black woman with a white man?
I don't feel either anyways. I don't have a problem with interracial dating. My problem is when you look at your own race and you can't see beauty. So I don't care. Yes. I don't care if you date everybody. Just date everybody. But don't be like, I'm a black person and I don't date black people. I don't see black people as attractive. Exactly. That's when I get upset, because I'm just like, you're dealing with a lot of self-hatred right there.
Right.
And that's a bigger issue, because here's the thing. Those same people are going to have children with this white person, which is fine, which is great. You know what I mean? I have biracial nieces. I love them. They're amazing. But here's the thing. You're going to teach them that their blackness is not something that they should be proud of.
Right.
Right? You just had daughters, and you don't like black women. These women are not black.
Right.
So what are you going to do with that?
A lot of that happens.
What are you
Yes.
going to do with that? Like, what are you going to teach them about their blackness? And they're still black, right? So I have a couple friends, like I have some biracial friends, and normally it's the one whose
Yes.
dads are black and their moms are white, who have a big
Yes.
issue with their blackness.
Issues. They
Yeah,
do. Yeah,
they have an issue with
you're
their
right.
blackness, and it's like it's because they don't know, they have never seen that
The
kind of interaction,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's just and it's a problem because it's like your parents are the ones who are supposed to teach you that love, right? They're the ones who are supposed to be there for you
Right.
and show you how to do that. But if your dad
Right.
looks at black women and has so much to say, if your mom is, and this is not all interracial relationships, but there's a lot of white women who only date black men and then have a lot of crap to say to black women and then have half black
Right.
daughters. So it's just like
Right.
just like it's just like you are creating a situation of negativity for that child that you're
Right.
supposed to be bringing up.
And when you say that, I wonder in my mind, do they really like that person? Like, what are you? Okay, and that's thing comes into play. Like, I read into people deeper than sometimes the surface, right?
Mhm.
Like, if you don't like the other people, how come you only like this one man or this one woman? Like, even with, and we could even say that with like a Caucasian man with a black woman. He only likes his wife, but he doesn't like all the other black women, or he doesn't like black men. I think that's messed up. So you don't really like me, like, to me, right? I don't think you really like me.
They like the idea.
You,
They like the
yes,
idea.
or what I have to offer. Okay, the trophy, the penis, whatever it is. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what is it? Like, if I like you, I like you, I like everybody. I might not like this person because of what they did, but not because of who they are, like something that they can't change about them. You know what I mean? So, and what you said about people like are interracial and they're having issues, like this girl at work, she talks about it daily, about that. Like, her identity, and she's confused about herself and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, you're like 20 something years old and you're still confused. Like,
Because my parents didn't deal with it.
What are these people getting into? Well,
That
this
was
is
their
what I'm
parents'
saying.
job.
When you get into these relationships with people, you got to know what you're getting into and how you're going to handle it. And you have to be yourself. You can't assimilate to somebody else's culture or their behavior just because you want to fit in. You continue to be yourself. And when you get married and you have children, they see, oh, my mom or my dad, that's them. And like, you know what I mean? Like, so they understand where they're coming from. Not, oh, my mom is black, but then she's talking about, hey Billy, how you doing? Like that, like,
But that
you
could
know
be
what?
her. That could
It's
be
just
her.
That could be her, because that was me. And people would say that about me,
It
right?
could be.
People would say that about me. I grew up in a not a very diverse neighborhood. Like, we were the only black people in my neighborhood. How I'm speaking right now is how I speak all the time, and I speak like this to everybody. Like,
Yeah,
it's
but
like
when
I
I
don't go
say
back
that,
and,
I don't mean just the talk.
yeah.
I don't mean just the talk. I mean, like, you assimilate with your own culture. Like, you eat certain foods. You're wearing your hair very natural. You're accepting that. Like, there's just certain things that I'm talking about. Like, you're not trying to be something that you're not. You're still yourself, right? And I think I think
You know
that's
what?
what I
And
mean.
I think there's some of that. I think that does happen. There are people who don't, but I think that is another reason why a lot of black women um, kind of stay away from dating an other man or hesitate a bit, because automatically when people spot, going back to what you said, Forever Blessed, when people see a black woman with a white man or Asian man or whatever, they think that she doesn't know herself. She doesn't love herself. She's not she's not a real black woman because she's taken on a man of another race, so therefore she's following another race or ethnicity. Whereas when it's a black man and another woman, he's leading this woman. This woman is now joining him or going into his way again. And this is where it's, and I think some women, they do get bashed. They're like, oh yeah, there she goes. Sister doesn't love herself. She could have, like I said, all her natural beauty, and like you just pointed out, wearing your hair natural, for whatever that says. That's another topic. But she still has that and is with a man that can love and appreciate her soul with whatever package, it comes in. And again, people will see the color thing, and because she's dating someone who's not black, that she doesn't love her blackness, her own blackness, whereas she can look at her own blackness every day and dress it up and love it and be with someone who appreciates it as well. But I think that's part of why some women stay away from it, or it's in the back of your mind. It's not like you see a man or you meet someone you really like and you're like, oops, no, people are going to think this, but it's somewhere, you know what I mean? I think that's one of the common reasons why black women just they stay away. Whereas, like we've pointed out before, we look over on the other side and we see these men out there and they're flaunting it, they're singing about it, they're rapping about it, they are, the other day, I got to speak about this one, and I'm going to just go really real with this one. So, Terrence Ross of the Toronto Raptors, when he should have been in the gym, working on his threes, working on everything, there was a video released by, I don't know who even first put it up. It was Amber Rose, because that's who he's dating now, right? Who someone was trying to convince me is black because, I don't know, one of her grandparents has black in them or something. I don't know. But when I see her, I don't know what you guys see. I see a white woman who,
Really?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Just like Mariah Carey. Sorry. Go on.
Mariah, see a little mix up something, but with Amber Rose, I see a white woman who, has. That's what I see. Now, I have not really dug deep into her background. I don't know what her makeup is, her DNA, and all that good stuff. But
Looks like Spanish or something.
No, not at all. I don't see that. I see a white woman. Okay, let me speak for myself. I see a white woman, and a white woman that wears her hair, looks fierce with it, bald, very bald, like very low, almost bald, right? And nice body, and for people who appreciate that build, banging body, like she's, and he's there. But when I see that, I try to envision this same man or the men she's been with the same person, same low hair, same body, but with black skin, and I don't see it.
Yep,
I
hear
don't
you.
see it. And that, to me, and that speaks more to, now I'm going to do the same thing. Is it the black men, is that self-hate? Is that, and we've touched on that already, of them not, and it goes deep. It goes deep because a lot of men, they speak about the mothers who raised them and the disconnect, or the, issues that they've had, and I think that factors in. I think the idea, I mean, and then we can go back in history. There's other reasons why, I don't know, conquering or having a woman of a certain race adds something to a black man status. But I just, like I said, I see that, I saw that image, and in the video they were there kissy kissy. He's like kissing all over her, like just like he adores her and just wanting to eat her up with the kisses. And I'm like, I don't really see those images of we don't see it enough of and I think, anyway, go ahead. Someone wants to cut in.
Because I feel like when you see, there's some men in general that will just cherish and admire their women. However, I find, especially when a black woman is with a man of another race, especially as a witness of like Caucasian men, they tend to cherish the woman like she's a black goddess, and they practically worship the ground she walks on. Like she is their trophy. And this is just from my observations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I see a black woman with a man of another race, especially dealing with the Caucasians, it's just like I see her with him because he really appreciates her. When it is that I see a black man with a white woman, I see a man who, to each their own, and I don't want to say anything I'm going to regret, but I just would like to say that in some cases, another woman brought up to me at work, I'll say that. And she's like, when you see these men with these black women, that means that the men lack power because they can't take the strength of a black woman and what she brings to the table or has to offer and whatever have you. Now, I don't know if I agree with it 100%, but I could understand why she said it. That's not to say that other women aren't strong or can stand up for themselves or whatever have you. I'm not saying that, but I understand. And then also when I see a black man with another woman of another race, I see that he could potentially be using her or taking advantage of her even more so to get status or some kind of something. And I know it's wrong to think, but that's in some cases. But at the end of the day, like my whole perspective on it all is that if you have two people who get along and like each other, are attracted to each other, and whatever have you, then be quiet and do it.
Right. Okay, well, I just want to, I think we can go on and on with this topic, but I did promise everybody that we're going to get into another topic, the snapback. So I'm just looking at the time. Loretta had to leave us. She had to log off, so I don't know if you noticed. She vanished. But just in closing, though, I just want to know. So it sounds to me, you've said it, Devin, that you are both open to dating other men of other races or ethnicities. Yeah?
Yes.
And forever blessed. Yeah, okay. I like I said, this was sparked by just always having people say this to me. And like I said, I've had different reactions to it. Like first, why do you assume that I don't or I wouldn't? And but then it, like I said, made me think more about how open I am to it. It hasn't happened. If I put myself in a position to date and put myself out there again, would I be open to it? I'd like to think yes, and just because I do base everything on a personality and how I connect with someone. Meeting the right person that I'm totally attracted to, it's not always a given with a black man. Like it's not, just instant connection just because we have a similar skin tone. So it's and honestly in this world, this society we live in, there's a lot more that comes with certain interactions and being in that relationship of like interracial, you do deal with things now, but at the end of the day you got to just decide like who cares. It's just like me being a taller, well I'm not that tall but taller, like if I was dating a guy that was shorter, people would have something to say to that, or people would turn twice and look at that.
Right? Conversation.
Right? You know what I mean? Or if I was dating someone that was extremely overweight, I know people are going to jump to the conclusion, oh, he must have money, or he this, that. You know what I mean? There's always going to be judgment.
Really? See, here's the thing. So here's the thing. So here's my question. How much of that are you actually bringing to it? Because like a lot of times it's just like I date whoever. I don't. For me, it doesn't matter. Height doesn't matter. I've dated guys. I'm 5'7", 5'8", around there, and I've dated a guy who's short as. I dated an Asian guy who was 5'5". You know what I mean?
I've dated a couple guys shorter, and I don't. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal. And the thing is, it's just like nobody ever said anything to me about it. Right? It was like if they were saying it, they weren't saying it to me, and so it didn't really affect me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right? I think a lot of it is like everybody's in their head, and that's what I think what happens with black women and thinking that if they date outside their race, everybody's going to do this. People are thinking this. People are doing this. And I was like, just do you. Just like at the end of the day, you're the one who's like, if this guy's, oh, sorry. And I just wanted to address what you said about like them treating black women really well. I was like, I actually think other races just actually just do that. Like I've dated other races, and they're I feel like other races in general are a little bit more affectionate, and that has to go back. That goes back through our history of why we aren't as affectionate. But I just think other races in general are as affectionate, and I think that guy would probably be the exact same if he was with another race. He's not treating you like that because you're black. He's treating you like that because that's how he treats the woman that he's involved with, and that's how he treats the woman that he loves.
Right.
Right? And it's like to think that, for us to think that, oh, he's treating me like this because, oh, he wants to treat me like a black queen, is like, it's almost like, why do you think so low of yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That you don't, like, he's treating you like that because he loves you and he appreciates you, and that's how you should be treated.
Right.
You shouldn't actually expect any less.
Well, this is it, and I don't care what race or where they come from. Like, I know I am, and I would have to be treated as such. And I don't mean queen to the level of diva, but queen worth it, and you better.
That's not diva. That's you're worth it. If you're worth it, you're worth it. Why does it have to be diva?
Not to that level of diva. Like, I know I'm the hottest thing since sliced bread. Like, the humble level. At the end of the day, like, I just think that we're in a society nowadays where, as things progress and the younger generations are developing, they too are starting to mix and mingle, and there's a more biracial children out there, regardless of what type of biracial child they are. There's a lot of them coming these days because everybody's into mixing and doing whatever they want to do. It's a more free-spirited world, I find. Like, there's
and that is the truth. But I think there are a lot of women who are still kind of hold back from diving in. And on the flip side, I have quite a few friends that say, hey, that if I'm ever single again, I'm not dating another black man, which is, I don't get that. Like, I don't jump on that. But, you know, and they just say they want to experience something different. So I think it might be changing. For me, I think at the end of the day, there is what you're attracted to, who you're attracted to factors in. And if, however that develops in us from our life experiences, things we've seen, you know, and if we just have a natural attraction to a certain type physically, then nothing wrong with it. But I think the bigger message is not focusing on the outside as much. And I know it sounds so like, yeah, but it's the truth. Like, I think once you get to know yourself a little more and you know your value and you make a decision based on what you want, the feeling you want to feel being around somebody, just you'll start looking for the person that allows you to feel that way, feel that way, and that you can help feel that way, and no matter what package he or she comes in, you know what I mean? So I think that's the bigger, we get to that, like, not so much, yes, you must date someone outside your race, or, you know, you must stick with your race. No, just look beyond that. And I think a lot of people are there, and it's getting there, and whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, we do have our preferences, so you can't knock that.
No, because as long as you're being treated well, you're happy. That's all that matters to me.
True.
Yep.
True.
That's all that matters to me. I don't see color or culture. The only thing is, for me personally, like, if I had to do it over again, at this stage in my life, for me to be with a Caucasian or someone out of my race would be really just dependent on how we interacted
Mhm.
And just like, you have some of those people that understand the pop culture, and then the way in which they conduct themselves or the things that they say are just what they know, their knowledge. It's like you almost forget that they are not black in a sense. If
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
like you're down to other people, for lack of a better word. So I would have to, like, they would have to get it. They would have to get it. Like, I couldn't deal with a cookie cutter Caucasian man if it
Ooh.
came.
Oh gosh.
Like,
Okay.
uh,
That's just gonna spark a whole other conversation. But
Kara's reactions are killing me.
I know, no, because that you're saying a lot with that one. But listen, we
What?
gotta move. We gotta move into the other topic. And here's the
Segue.
thing, about the other the topic which is the snapback, right? And the idea of women returning to their pre-baby body. Um, Within a week now, we're seeing this happen, and I saw that, and this is what sparked me wanting to talk about it a bit. I think it's a part of a bigger discussion, a bigger conversation about this need to be perfect, look perfect as women, and it goes beyond even, uh, it affects people who don't have children, clearly. And you go on social media, and I guess it really depends on who you follow and everything like that. But if you're, if it's the mainstream, or there's always people sending links and everything like that. So you can't help but notice just how people are changing their bodies with plastic surgery, or shapers and everything like that. Adding hair, adding nails, just like there's so many ways people are changing their looks, and actually and looking very much like the other woman. So it's just this cookie cutter look I see. But when it now, so we're going to definitely have another conversation that deals with that. But I wanted to just focus specifically on women having children. And like I said, there have been people who over a year, or sorry, let's say 6 months. I think it was Sierra. Like she was back to her pre-baby body within about 6 months, and she did it training, working out, eating right, and everything like that. And it was like, wow, you know what I mean? And then we had other people come, and it was, they posted Emily B. She has a child with Fabulous. She's with him, and so I think hers was like a month or so. I could be off with the numbers. And then Candy, she's with on Housewives of
that's
Atlanta,
like,
right? And she didn't show her body in a bikini or anything like that, but she shows herself holding her baby within, what was it, a month or so, um, or less than that, showing her body slimmed down. I don't know how toned, but definitely slimmed down and back to her pre-baby weight. And recently, Rhea, who's I didn't even watch the show she's on, to be honest with you people, but reality show, and she snap back in a week. And Tiana Taylor, same thing. So and it's not even that they're just doing that, but clearly taking photos and posting on social media, and being proud of the fact that they are back to having, abs, like their six pack, whatever, with in Tiana's case, and being in a bikini and looking like you did not have a baby, and they're so proud of this. And I just think there's it just strikes me as something very um I don't want to say wrong, but kind of wrong, like where I think the focus is on the wrong thing after just having a child. What do you
right.
So I don't know what you guys think about this, if you've seen the same images, and if you can weigh in on this. And I know with you, Devin, with your background and what you do, I'd love to hear your point of view, as far as what's realistic, um, for a woman
Um,
to look like after having a child.
well, before I hadn't even known this was going on before we started to have this conversation.
Oh,
So like
yeah.
when you sent me, that's why when you were like snapback, I was like, what's that?
Oh, okay. I thought you meant just now. I was like, huh?
No. Before we decided to have this conversation, when we were talking about it earlier in the week, and so I did a little research and I read some of the things, and there was one of the articles was like a woman saying this and asking her man like why is this, like, this is not real. And then her man's like, oh, that's because you ate everything in sight when you were pregnant, and that's why, you know what I mean? He almost like shamed her, and I was like,
Right.
that's not nice. Like, take that down a notch. And then another fitness trainer, a male fitness trainer. Don't get me started. Okay, honestly, male fitness trainers, stop with women's bodies. Like, honestly, just stop it. Like, you've never lived it. You will never understand it because your bodies are completely different, and our bodies are just, like, you'll never understand it. So just don't comment on it. Just don't. Like, do your job, do what you got to do, don't comment on it. That's all I ask. Because he was like, oh, lots of women do that. I'm like, no, not lots of women do it. There's a few women that can snap back. Like, I have a friend who had a baby. She barely got very big, even having a baby, but she's very small. Like, she's very small boned, and she didn't work out or anything, and she literally snapped back right away. But that's her body type. That's her genetics. Right? It's not about working out before. Like, that plays a big part in it, and it makes it a little bit easier to get back in shape and to get down and to lose that baby weight. But it's not guaranteed. I have clients that have trained, like pregnant clients that have trained literally to the, like, up until they gave birth. And they still had, like, when they had that baby, they still had months and months and months of work to do to get their weight off. And a lot of them still had trouble getting it off. But that is based on their genes. It's not based on, it's based on your genes. It's based on, like, they put in work, and they were, like, working their butt off, like, trying whatever they could in terms of, like, controlling what they eat, and they still couldn't get it off. So to say that it's just like, oh, because they worked out before, that's why they did that, that's why it happened to them, it's not guaranteed, right? It's gonna depend on your genes. It's gonna depend on your age, right? How old is, what's her face? Tiana Taylor is like 25.
Yeah, they're young.
You know what I mean? Like, when you're 25, yeah, your body's going to snap back just like that. It's so much easier, right? Like, I have a girlfriend who had 3 kids before the age of 25, and she's, like, small. Like, she looks like, if you look at her, people are like, damn, you had kids? You have 3 kids? Like, that's crazy, right? But she had them before she was 25. And in the genetics in her family, if you see her mom is the exact same like that. Right? So genetics play a huge part in what your body looks like. And I spend a lot of time, like, with all of my clients, kind of like my female clients, just trying to explain to them, like, I have a client, okay, so my arms, right? I have really thin arms, but they're very muscular, right? But I have a client who comes to me who has a bigger arm, who is a bigger girl in general, and shorter than me. Right? So she's 5'4", she weighs way more than I do, and she's like, well, I want your arms. And I was like, I gotta be realistic with you. You're never gonna have my arms. Like, there's no matter what we do, you're never gonna have my arms because you're not me. You know what I mean? And that's okay. Like, let's get your arms to look the best that your arms are gonna look. And we need to stop looking at other women and looking at them as our ideal, and start looking at ourselves and being like, what can I do with what I have? What can I do with this body and make it amazing? You know what I mean? Like, we're looking at these celebrities, and that's the thing. When you look at the celebrity aspect of it, they got trainers, they got private cooks. So even when they're pregnant, right, they don't have to sit there in the kitchen and cook up a meal and healthy meal, and then they have, like, a partner where they have to cook like 2 or 3 meals. Like, I have a girlfriend who's on a program right now, and she's, like, doing amazing on it. But between her and her man, she makes 2 meals. She has to make one for her and one for him because he's not on the same program that she's on. You know what I mean? When he cooks, he has to make 2 meals. He has to make one for him and one for her. You know what I mean? Like, they do that back and forth. But it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of commitment to do that. And most people don't have that drive to do that. So when you have a cook that's going to come in, and they come in, they're going to make your meals. You have a trainer. You can train twice a day. You can train for 2-3 hours, right? It's going to be significantly easier for you to have the snapback. And it's your job. It's your job to look like that. Right? There's your motivation right there.
Exactly.
Most of us are just like, I'll just put on a long sweater today.
Right.
You know?
Or people are waiting to see. You know what I mean? People are waiting to see you, right? So my thing though is I remember years ago hearing that it took 9 months, let's say 9 months to get, you know, to carry and before you have your child. Most people on that, like if you carry full term. So it's going to take the same amount of time for your body to return.
Not necessarily.
And not outside and visual, because it didn't take me that long to shed my weight and to actually go down to, I think, smaller than I had started for a little time. But considering what's going on inside your body, and after things have been shifted and stretched and you know what I mean? I don't want to say reworked, but there's a lot that has gone on, and the body needs to repair and get back to where it was, right? So I think people need to be a little more educated, and people like you who understand women's bodies and understand what the body has gone through. Your doctor, your pediatrician, gynecologist, whatever, and they can explain it to women. But I think seeing images like this create this.
It's discouraging.
Yeah, this false sense of, I don't know if you want to say hope for all women who think, you know, and it kind of disturbs me to see it like as a hashtag and becoming a thing where now every woman is going to want to throw that hashtag up after she has a child, you know. And I went through the hashtags on Instagram, and not everybody has, like, some, and I'm not judging, but I'm just saying, like, some snapbacks I've seen, I'm like, I didn't see them before, but it don't really look snap back. Like, but I don't know what your before was. So it's not judging, because I don't know where these people started, what they went to. For me, I started somewhere before I got pregnant. I was somewhere between 135, 140. Probably closer to 140, I don't know. And I went up to 199. That was my peak weight. And you know, I'm taller, so I'm not. But my doctor sat me down one day. He was like, "Okay, listen." He, in very thick Spanish accent, beautiful. And he was just like, "Listen," he goes, "when you came to us, you are a beautiful woman, and we want, when you have this baby and leave us, we can say the same thing, that you can be a beautiful." He goes, "You've gained too much weight. You are gaining," and he was like, "You don't need to gain 60 pounds when you're pregnant. Your baby, if you think about it, the baby, I don't think your baby's going to be more than 10. He's like, she was 8 pounds, 7.5 ounces, so almost 9. But still, under 10, and then all the other stuff that we carry, and then naturally we do gain some weight. But I had no business gaining like 60 pounds, honestly. But
well, it becomes a health issue. It actually becomes a health issue for you and the baby.
True.
Yeah.
And the fact that I was eating a lot of fruit and a lot of what I was taking in, which I thought was all healthy, good stuff, my sugar shot up. Like, I was just like too much sugar, because you know they run all these tests, right? We are just staring at you. I don't know how I did this. I don't know what I did, but we just have you locked in your screen. Sorry, I know you're probably looking like, why do we see?
I can't tell. I can't tell on my own.
Oh, okay. That's always,
because I don't like the flipping around, so I always just lock on one screen and then I just stay there.
Yeah, it's distracting. And then Forever Blessed, I accidentally booted her out. So is that you? Are you in?
I muted to whoever there was.
Kamika? Who's there's someone here. There's a Kamika here. Are you there?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Kamika.
They're muted.
Oh, I didn't mute anybody. Are you there? You muted yourself. Can you unmute and say hello? No. Okay.
I guess not.
She'll just listen. All right. So, so yeah, that's what I remember. But for me, it was, I think within 2 months. But it was just great timing when I had my daughter. It was like spring. By the
Mhm.
time she was a month, I was out every day with her walking. Ooh,
Oh.
echo. You hear that? I was out with her walking every day. I did breastfeed, so that helped because I felt that. I felt that like the contractions. I felt that tightening me up. So, um, and eating right. I was
Mhm.
eating right because I was breastfeeding. So I was very, taking care of what I ate, put in my body, what I was drinking, everything like that. And I think timing plays a role. And then, like you said, genetics, like your genes, right? So
Yeah.
um, I don't want to say got lucky, but I did okay. I did okay. And I did not work out before, and I was not a workout person after. Like I didn't do any of that. But I think there are ways we're just active. And a baby is a workout, please. Like people want to act
It
like, you know what I mean? So, um, but do you train? So speaking of your work, have you trained women who recently had children or
Yeah,
and
I've
how
trained, like I
how soon
said, like
after?
I've trained people all the way up until literally like pregnancy, like literally until they actually
Oh,
had the
delivery.
baby. Yeah,
Okay.
like delivery, I should say, not
Mhm.
pregnancy. Up until delivery, where they worked out, they did weights, like it's just like a matter of keeping in contact with their doctors and kind of like making sure I know where their doctor is saying what's happening. Like when they go to doctor's visits, they tell me what's going on, what their doctor's saying. Like there's certain during each trimester, there's certain exercises that you can't do. Like once you reach your third trimester, you shouldn't be doing anything lying on your back flat. Like there's just like all these
Ah,
things that
okay.
come into play in certain exercises, and then like eventually you kind of like lower the weights and all that stuff.
So how,
And then
sorry to cut you. Go ahead.
and then after you're asking,
Yes.
after everybody's different. So it depends. If you have a C-section, it's going to take a little bit longer. But if you have a natural birth, it could be anywhere from like 6 weeks after
Okay.
birth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to say like, I'm sorry, that girl that says she snapped back in 6 days. I was
But there's
like,
also,
I
and
don't
then
care how old you are. I don't care what your genes are. Like to show, and the picture that she showed, I was like, that's an old picture. And please show me a new one because I don't. Even if you're like you lost the weight, like even if she didn't put on any extra weight, you're gonna have your skin is gonna be stretched a
yes.
bit, right? So within those 6 days, your skin's not gonna literally snap back into position. I feel like it's like turning into a competition now. Like who can get
Exactly.
the snap back first. Like
No,
you know what
it's
I mean?
it's so for real because
Done.
one of like I was going on like I was online and I came across this one I don't know this post and it said coming for the snapback crown. Like
Yeah.
so Drea is like now the queen of snapback and I'm like, so there's a lot of that too that encourages it and I just like it just really bothers me to see that. Um because emotionally you're not a mess, but you're all over the place after having a child. And the last thing you want to stress about, which women do naturally, especially when you have your
Hmm.
partner there and you have other people that that first visit to work or whoever you're going to see, or, um, you do want to feel like and after having all that weight on you and changing and not looking like the person you look like for however many years, now you want to get back to that.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes on but to add this to the mix now to people who are online, and most of us are in some way, shape, or form, and it's going mainstream. You know what I mean? I even saw Eva Mendes, like she's pregnant again, but after her first child, and she was on the Wendy Williams show. I showed a clip of that on
Hmm.
YouTube, and she spoke about this thing and how she rejects the term and she
Yeah.
doesn't give in to the pressure. And I applaud her. And I think we have to have more people coming out and showing, you know what? No, I didn't snap back, and it didn't happen in a 6 days or 2 weeks. But like you said, it goes it's who it's coming from as well, and what they have to gain from that, right? So I hope people, when they see it, they're taking it with that in consideration and just not applying the pressure. But it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So like it was Sierra's wasn't a snapback
No,
really, right?
no.
Like hers was, they just referenced hers after because literally she worked hard for 6 months
True.
to get
She
herself
did.
in shape
But
because literally that's her job. Like she has to be in shape. She's a dancer, she's a performer. She has to be in a certain kind of shape in order to do her job. It's
And
like for me, my motivation is because like I have to be able to like I can't just like slack off, right? I'm gonna be like to my clients, I'm gonna be like, hey, do this exercise that I can't do myself. You know what I mean?
exactly.
So for me, that's my motivation in terms of like me keeping fit, me keeping strong, me getting stronger and stronger, and like trying new exercises, looking for the newest thing, what's going on, what's happening, so that when they come to me, that I can be that inspiration and I can help them with their motivation in that aspect, because that's half of my job.
And I think Sierra is a great example of someone who has always looked healthy and fit and toned. Like she's always been on the slimmer side and very active. So she, this whole idea of if you are that before, you will then be that a week after you have your baby. She's a great example of that. So I think, and this is why I added her to the mix, just to show that with work, you know what I mean? She's not, she people will say snapback, but really, she did work on it. Is that you, Forever Blessed?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought I didn't realize I was on mute.
No, that's okay. So what were you have to add to this? Sorry.
Yes, I have a lot to say to this actually. Yes. A few things. So one of them is that I too work in the entertainment industry on a couple of different levels, and one of them being within acting in front of the camera, doing a whole bunch of different stuff on that level. And I know that just based on that alone, they have the requirement, especially those who are more experienced in whatever than myself, you're required to get your body down back to where it was as soon as possible, because they want you to be on there doing what you have to so that whatever you guys are working on can proceed without further interruption. So it's like they give you just enough time to push out the child, and then it's like, okay, tomorrow you're back on set. So I think because of that, that's why the pressure is on to lose weight, and depending on where they fit in the industry, like if it is that they're the type to show off their bodies and the Kardashians and the Dreas and those types, then they definitely want to show off, and they have the money and the trainers to do it, which also gives them that benefit. Whereas someone who doesn't have the income that they have aren't able to lose their weight the next day, and it would take a longer work. I agree with what Devin said in terms of like, it also depends on the type of genetics that you have, the type of body you had prior to. Like there's a lot of things that play into it. I think regardless of what industry you are, the best thing for you to do is just take it easy and not overexert yourself. And being a mother myself, I know that it's not easy to just bounce back. But for me, because of the industry that I'm in, I know that I can't afford to be looking all sweaty, and like, I have to make sure that my physique is on point in order to I'm doing career-wise. And in general, it's just my nature. Like, I like to make sure that my body is kept at a certain level, and I try my best to maintain it. There's some point when I do slack off, as I'm sure we all have at one point or another, but I get back on the bandwagon. And I think just maintaining a healthy lifestyle, regardless if you're having a baby or not having a baby, before or after, is important in itself.
Yeah, and I think this is where I'm like surprised, and I'm like, okay, and I'm not judging, but I'm just like, let's focus on the baby and not necessarily putting your baby in the focus and, setting up, like putting photos or anything like that, but just take the time to to enjoy that and be a part of that. And but back to just, if I could just shout out to all the mothers out there, all the people who have gone through it, and everyone has a different story and a different experience, and just know that what you've done is a miracle in itself. And whatever you want to do with your body, you have time to do it. Don't feel the pressure or anything like that. And like, I just wish I could just say that to everybody, and other people in Hollywood with big voices can echo that, or the entertainment industry, because I just feel like we're on the brink now. Like, it's not totally there. Like, I haven't seen, like, thousands of regular women like myself putting their with the hashtag up, but I feel like it's to come. I feel like
It's about to
that's
be, yeah.
that's about to be the next thing, or it's a thing, but I feel like it's even going to be bigger and bigger with the more, the more we see it playing out like that. And I'm just like, I just hope that, people with, like I said, powerful voices, can show other examples of what women look like after, and just not to give in to the pressure, and not to let it get to you. And partners, you guys play a very big part in this, because that's my other
For sure.
thought, is that these men now are, they're on Instagram, Facebook, wherever, they're seeing all these pictures pop up, and then they're looking over at their wife who just had a baby with her, her gut or whatever out, and he's looking like, so what's wrong with you? Like, look at this one and this one and this one, and gonna be holding her to this, measuring her to this new standard, which I can't call it fake, because hey, if it's there, it's there. If it is, it is, for some people. But I think if we took 100 women and looked at them 6 days after giving birth, I think,
Oh, this is
I'm
it.
guessing, more would not look like they looked, immediately before getting pregnant, type of thing,
But
right?
you have to remember who these women are too, right?
True.
These women, their whole job, like most of them are in the media and in, like, we know who they are because of their bodies.
True.
That's
Do you
their
know what I
money.
mean? Like, that's their money. And so,
Exactly.
like, they have like those genetics
Mhm.
that give them those bodies most of the time naturally, or they've had work done and so it won't really affect it.
Yeah.
Right?
But the other thing I had
Um,
to say, sorry, just I want to say, because Drea, for instance, in her little rant, because people were coming for her after her posting it. I didn't read all the comments, but I did see a post with her reply saying she did this. She posted this because she's proud of herself for maintaining her body, her health, for her sake, and the health of her child, all through her pregnancy, and being able to bounce back. She's proud of this, and blah blah blah. She went on, and she rejected the idea that having money plays a role, or being famous. And I'm like, so when she's doing that, she's trying to level herself, like put herself not back down, like we're
mhm.
below, but she's trying to act as if, yeah, the
She's only
money,
human.
and yeah, the money, and having access to certain meals made for you, the gym, or whatever, or even the time, the help, because within a couple weeks I've seen her pop up at a and no judgment, but pop up at a basketball game with her man. And so clearly, you having the
Where's your
health, and
baby?
right, without the baby,
Yeah. Everybody
without the
has that
baby, right?
luxury.
But that's where it goes into having the care. Okay, sure, it could be a family member, but and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
but still,
Let's
most
let's
people don't
not.
have that. Most people do not
Exactly.
have that.
And I had a mommy that was very helpful, but you think my mom's gonna be taking my daughter so I could go to a basketball? No.
No.
I think she would, talk to me about having my priorities straight. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
right?
Thanks for
Like,
that.
right? I don't know. And so I get it, but when she starts pointing out, like, telling us not to consider this, as if everybody and anybody could do it, it's like, whatever. And that's the part that bugs me. And I'm just hoping, like everything else, like there are a lot of young women, and I'm going to just speak to women, period, who are pushing for lifestyles and looks and material items that they do not have because of these reality stars, or these recording
Oh,
stars or actresses,
TV.
Yeah.
right? And it does trickle down. And so um even though it's for now, we're looking at them and the spotlight is on them, it does affect all the people that are seeing the images pop up now. And that's what I'm just hoping that can stay under control, kind of, you know?
I think also a thing to look at too is the positive in it for me is the fact that it's showing that even though you've had a baby, it's not a good enough excuse, even though money is involved or whatever have you. Like, I get what Dre is saying to an extent of the fact that with anything in life, if you're committed to achieving something, then you're going to go hard and do what you got to do to make it happen, regardless if you have $1 million in the bank or not.
True.
And I think to that effect, if it is that you want to lose weight after having your child, then go for it. If you want to lose weight and you haven't had a child, then go for it. Like, whatever you want to do, go for it. However, on the same tip, there are other women out there who have babies, and even during the pregnancy, it's like, oh, I'm pregnant, so I have to eat the house. Oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm craving
That was
this,
me.
this,
That was me. I
You
wanted
know,
to
it's
eat
just
every
like the
day, and
excuse
I
of,
had it. I don't care.
yes. But I mean, like, even after the fact, there's those women that let themselves go and use the excuse of having had a child as to why it is they can't get back in shape. You
True.
know, so it's like, this is good to show women that regardless of how much money you have, it is possible to get back to the size you were, or even better than before you had that child. So whatever reason why you're not at that point is completely on you, and there's no real excuse for it. Because even if you have to get 2 cans of what do you call it, kidney beans, and use those as weights, or whatever you have to do, like, where there's a will, there's a way. You see what I'm saying?
I can't.
I know for me,
I
had my
kidney beans.
after my first child, like donkey years ago. Okay, I used to work out. I bought some weights at Walmart. I used those. I didn't have a treadmill, so you know what I would do? I would hold the wall and run.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. Okay.
That's amazing.
Oh,
That's
wow.
amazing. I actually make my clients do that. I make my clients do that in workouts. That's a amazing
Yes.
workout.
But I tell you, especially because of like the career path I was in, like, I did whatever I could to make sure I got back to size. 'Cause I didn't want to be one of those.
Echo.
Uh,
Can you move
I
back
didn't
to
want
the
to.
computer?
I didn't want to be one of those girls that looked like I had a child.
Mm.
And
What's
don't-
Mm.
uh-oh.
my thing is this. When I say that, I mean, like, the mothers that don't take care of themselves and use the excuse, oh, I just had a baby. I don't want people to look at me and say, oh, you look good for just having a baby. I want people to look at me and say, you look good, period.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Look at me, it's like,
You know,
oh my
the
God.
hardest part of my whole pregnancy, like as far as weight gain, because like I said, I had it pretty good after. It was the weight I was gaining before I started showing.
Mhm.
So before you could see that I was pregnant, before it was clear that I was pregnant, I just look like I gained a lot of weight. And I know people were looking and wondering, and I wasn't going to walk everywhere, every room I entered, like to announce, like, oh, I'm pregnant, people, that's why I've gained weight. And that was the hardest part for me. Or not hardest, but that was the part where I felt a little uncomfortable, was wanting my belly to pop to show, okay, this is why I'm bigger. It's not, you know what I mean? And but after, like I said, I just took that time, and I wasn't so focused on it. But again, there was no Instagram and Facebook and any of Snapchat, any of this at that point for me. So that came soon after, but still, there wasn't. So I don't know, but like I agree with you. I agree with you. It can be a little inspiring, but it's kind of, I mean, 2 months is inspirational. Maybe
I
a
know.
month,
They're
but
just they're but everything
days.
about them has to be extreme, right?
True.
The one thing I will say that they all kind of mention is the importance of actually working out while you're pregnant. Because I've seen the effects. Like, I've had clients come to me after having a baby who weren't working out before, and they had so many complications, and it took much longer for them to like get themselves and get their body back to a point where working out was not like painful, like really, really painful, right? Like where and then a lot of women are having the problem that it's where their rib split. I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a D right now. Yeah, your ribs when you have the baby, naturally vaginally that your ribs actually split open, and it actually creates a problem, right? Studies show that if you are exercising and if you maintain your abdominal core underneath where the baby is, then you're less likely to have that problem. Right? Like there's so many benefits to having worked out before that is about health and less about not about what you look like, but more about just like the health of it. Like,
and I think during the delivery as well, they will say,
because you're stronger, you have the muscles there, right? That in terms of when you're pushing. And I feel like in general, even just dealing with the mental aspect of understanding and being able to accept pain. You know what I mean? Like exercise that's what exercise creates for you too, is right, pushing yourself past the point of where you're comfortable. Right? So that mental aspect of if you take that into having that baby and looking at not what you're doing right now and how much this hurts, but what is this going to get me by doing this work?
True.
You know what I mean? And that's what happens when you're exercising. You're like, okay, I'm doing like a bajillion squats. Yeah, it's killing me right now. But at the end of this, how am I going to feel when it's done and I see the results? That's the same thing when you're having a baby. It's killing me to push this baby out, but at the end of this, I'm going to have a baby. You know what I mean?
Well, babies are like, I'm coming whether you want it or not. You're going to feel this whether you like it or not. But no, those are all great points, and so you know what? I think just because we've gone over, it's 10:30 already. So unless Forever Blessed, I'll let you if you had another thought. But I definitely want Devin, I want you to be able to give your contact your info out to everyone, and yeah, especially since we're on this topic, there might be some people very interested in connecting with you. So, Forever Blessed, do you have anything to add before we wrap?
No, I think I think I've said it all for the most part. Talking for another 2 hours.
Okay, I know. And then, what's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, I do have an Instagram. And Facebook, whatever have you, but the easiest one would be my Instagram, which is #4 EVRBLESD. I am a marketing and PR specialist in the entertainment industry, and also I have my own line of scarves from a Blessed collection. So if it is that you need anyone needs anything of that nature, then you connect with me on Instagram.
Okay, great. And we're going to have everyone's contact information available on the site, vexradio.com, and I'm going to be putting it out on social media. So, Devin, you can be reached how, where?
At pretty much all my social media is at the Split, SPLIT, Verse, VERSE. My website is splitversefitness.com. Can I also just mention, we kind of touched on the fact of like our hair and being seen in the natural hair. So I'm actually doing a conversation tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. Tell us about that.
So tomorrow we're talking, I call it Black on Black Hair. And it's Black women talking about our hair and our experiences of going natural and how that has affected us. So not even just being natural, but also braids and just hairstyle, wearing our hair in not straight.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Because, not straight because
Yeah.
of like what's happening where the girl who's getting reprimanded by her boss for wearing braids to work and telling her her hair isn't kept, to the black girl who from Jack Astor's
Oh, right.
who was let go, sent home because she couldn't wear her hair down. She was wearing her hair in a ponytail, and she couldn't wear her hair down because it didn't lay straight because she doesn't have permed hair. So there's issues like this keep popping up. But this started literally, like, the reason why I decided to have this conversation is I was walking home last Friday, and a black woman said to me, "Why don't you comb your hair already?"
Oh, wow.
And I just,
Wow.
and I literally was like in shock. And I was like,
The black
okay,
woman.
if you're saying this, that explains why that stuff is happening.
Exactly. Wow.
No,
That. Oh no, we gotta listen into this tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's going to be tomorrow on Blab. I'm going to put it up on my page. So I'm on Facebook, Devin Jones. Look me up, add me, and yeah.
Well, like I said, we're going to have it all available on vexradio.com. And remember, you can listen all day, every day to the best in R&B and hip hop. You can send a shout out that will go live to air on vexradio.com. Simply dial 1-877-469-3016 and choose option 1 if you want to leave a shout out, or option 2 if you actually want to leave a on-air request to hear anything. And remember, this show that we just did is going to be rebroadcasted and available to be watched again and again on YouTube. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, look for it, CareC, and subscribe. I'm just getting started there, people. So I need my numbers up as well. Keep me company. And it's also available as a podcast. So check out, just look for Vex Radio or Cake with CareC. You can put that in the search bar on TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play Music, and also on SoundCloud. So, and last but not least, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And I'm going to start with the Periscope and Snapchat a little more. And all just search Cake with CareC, and you can find me there. Again, ladies, thank you so much for being part of the conversation.
Thanks
And
for having us.
yeah, for sure, for sure. We'll do it again on another topic or whatever. We might have to bring in some of this stuff in the future because we just touched on it. Like I said, this perfect body stuff. We need to explore this too. And men, and for men too. Men are getting are being put under the not microscope, but they're being judged too for their looks. So we'll get into it. We haven't forgotten the men. But until then, take care, and
Bye, guys.
we'll talk again. Yeah. Good night.
Yes, care. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.